Avengers Assemble! Today we're breaking out the big guns and looking at the Hasbro Iron Man 2 Iron Monger. Like the Mark I Iron Man, this is a pretty unique body type to be seen within this line. I think they did reuse it one or two times, but it is a big freaking figure, and so cool that they made him. I'm not even going to waste any time up front here. We're just going to get right into it and break them down. What you come to expect, you got your stand, and we have our cards here. For some reason they gave him a very dark blue on here. I kind of wondered if it was a complete accident because the comic series Iron Monger was about this shade of blue, so I wonder if they got their Iron Mongers crossed. On to the figure himself. He is a big hulking guy. Not entirely to scale in the movie, but still a big figure. If we're bringing the Iron Man Mark III, we could see that he definitely isn't as big as he needed to be. In the movie, he was much, much larger than Iron Man. But it's still a pretty good scale, seeing that it is still just a 3 3/4 inch scale figure and has to fit on that Iron Man 2 card. I don't think a full-sized Ironmonger would have fit on a normal card, so it's probably this way or nothing when it came to this guy. The other awesome benefit, I say that somewhat sarcastically, of getting this guy and him being so large is there's no room for a stupid accessory in the box with him. It's just him, his stand, and his cards. The sculpt on this figure is really, really cool. Just like the Mark I, you see all the different panels, the different layers of metal on here, all done with extreme detail, and it just looks really cool and really fantastic. You can see down here on his arm, you have the different guns. There's one down here, and I believe one on top. And in his other arm, he has kind of a Gatling gun over here. He has all the pistons in his joints, making it believable that he'd actually be walking around in this suit. Similar to the Mark I, how they had the treads and all that stuff exposed, this one has some other features. For his shoulder armor up here, it's actually kind of a rubber piece that extends to the back, and both of these being kind of free-floating pads. The coloration on him, I think, takes a little bit of a liberty. There is a very gray base tone, but some of these raised sections have a metallic gray that kind of has a blue tinge to it that makes it look a little inaccurate to the movie, but it does break up the pure gray look, and I think that's what they were going for. Not nearly as nice of a silver as we saw in the Mark II armor, but it is a different sheen. Unfortunately, mine has a black mark on his chest. It's been that way since I got him. A little disappointing, but you can just count it as battle damage. The blue on the arc reactor and the eyes, I think, looks really good, and the sculpt of the head is truly menacing and looks phenomenal for the character. It really brings out that sinister look that Iron Monger had. You take him down, you even see he has detail on his feet. Flip him over to the back. Just a lot of good detail on this figure. Really impressed with what they did on him. Unlike some of the other Iron Man figures, he doesn't really have much on the bottoms of his feet, though I don't know if he was really supposed to. I believe these over here were the boosters. I'm not entirely positive. It's been a while since I watched that movie, but still really nicely detailed. For articulation, his head, I believe, is on a ball joint, but all you can really get out of it is a swivel. That works okay. He doesn't really need to be looking up or down. There's not a whole lot of room up in this neck area to get it to go. He has pin and socket shoulders. Once again, not hindered by that shoulder pad floating. You actually get 360. It'll just move out of the way for you. You also go up and down. Pretty much free movement. A swivel at the upper arm. You have a bend at the elbow. The hands can rotate, and they could also actually bend, which makes it great because you could have him aiming his guns and get the hand out of the way. Can swivel at the waist. He has the movie-style legs, though the ball joint is kind of on an angle here, which makes it a little more awkward than normal to pose the legs and causes them to swivel in kind of an angular fashion. Can bend at the knee, though not a whole lot. It's pretty hindered by his sculpt. And then you can bend and swivel at the foot. I will say one thing, I'm not entirely sure which way these feet go on. This looks better to me, but when he came in the package, one foot was turned one way and one was turned the other. So I'm not entirely sure which way they're supposed to face, because you can just take them and turn them all the way around. This way looks a little stubbier to me, so I'm thinking it goes the other way. Overall, Iron Monger is a really cool addition to this line of figures. It's neat to get something that's not just an Iron Man. It's awesome to have villains in a series. It is always a big complaint of mine when you get a lot of action figures of heroes and they skimp on the villains. So, I was very excited to get a figure as cool as this and as big as this. Even though he's not quite the right height, he's still going to look really cool in display with the Iron Man figures, and on his own, he is still a phenomenal piece. I would definitely recommend picking this guy up for your Iron Man collection. This has been another Outside the Box review, so stay with us as we continue to count down to Avengers.